Hi guys, this is Conor McGrath from How To Drama. I run a company that hopefully gets students into the drama school of their choice. It's getting extremely competitive each year, so I think the quality of information that people need to receive in order to get into the school they want is incredibly important. So, here we have 3 books that I recommend every single student applying for drama school reads. First one I read, Sanford Meisner, on acting. I read this before I went to LAMDA when I studied there for a year. Extremely helpful. Second book I read while I was at LAMDA, it was on the reading list, True and False by David Mamet. Third book I read was in the second year when I was doing my BA at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. This is Peter Hall's Shakespeare Advice for the Players. I'm going to go through them in order. 3 of them are extremely important if you want to learn about contemporary acting, classical speaking. So I'm just going to go through them individually. Sanford Meisner, this is one of the first acting books I read at the time. I was trying to get into LAMDA, and I just bought all the books on Amazon that had anything to do with acting. This was one of the better ones I read. This isn't written by Meisner, it's written by one of his students. The student sits in on his lessons and reports 1 year of his teaching and how his students progress and the basic gist of his teaching. And I think it's brilliant because Meisner's approach is extremely practical. If you read the book, he talks about a lot of exercises and how to get yourself out of your head. And instead of focusing on yourself and how you're coming across, he wants you to focus on the other people and what you're receiving. And this is great advice for anyone auditioning for drama school, because instead of worrying about yourself, how you're coming across, what the panel think of you, I think Meisner would always say, don't focus on that, focus on what you're receiving and use that in your performance. Second book, True and False by David Mamet. This was recommended to me by my teacher, Adam Megiddo, who is now a Tony winner. Congratulations to Adam Megiddo. David Mamet is a writer who favours as little fluff as possible in his writing. He always talks about how if it's unnecessary in a piece of writing, cut it out. He's always been a believer that you should focus on the core of your writing and not add in anything simply for decoration purposes. So hopefully you've read some of his stuff, Elena. Hopefully you've seen Glengarry Glen Ross. If you haven't, I'd recommend seeing that. Jack Lemmon, one of the best performances I've seen on TV, not on TV, on film. David Mamet in True and False, again, no bullshit. He talks about a lot of the myths in theatre and a lot of the myths in performance. I think he'd advocate not being a diva about it, letting the talent speak for itself. One bad thing in True and False is that he says that drama school students should consider training and instead go out there and try auditioning. I mean, if you're on this channel, hopefully you want to go to drama school. So I take that advice with a pinch of salt. But this is a brilliant book for getting to the nub of what matters in performance. I'd recommend it absolutely to anyone. There's another book he's got, 3 Uses of the Knife, but True and False is the best. I recommend going for that. This book is a bit more advanced. This is Peter Hall, Shakespeare's Advice for the Players. I read this in second year when I was studying at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. In second year at drama school, they start going a lot more in depth and getting a lot more difficult in their investigation into language. Hence, they go from contemporary writing into Shakespeare, Molière, more classical writing. Peter Hall is a world-renowned, one of the best directors for Shakespeare. He's worked with incredible actors. In the book, he talks about working with Dustin Hoffman. His rendition of Midsummer Night's Dream is gone down in history as one of the most innovative and famous productions of all time. This guy knows what he's talking about. This isn't some random guy that's written a book on Shakespeare. In the book, it's a comprehensive view, and he talks about the different styles of performing Shakespeare, the history of what's happened in the performance of Shakespeare. He breaks down some of the technical things in Shakespeare you have to look for, the iambic pentameter, some exercises you have to do with iambic pentameter. People who are applying to drama school, they often have no experience in speaking classical text. Shakespeare is what I'd advocate in my ebook. I say that you should probably go for Shakespeare. You can go for others, but I don't understand why people try and make it more complicated. But Peter Hall in the book gives a very comprehensive, sometimes too technical if you're just applying for drama school, but very comprehensive and fantastic lead into speaking Shakespeare. It's only 200 pages long. It'll take you a week to read it. These are 3 books. If I had read before I got in to my BA, I think I would have, probably advanced a lot quicker. So I recommend you read all of these. These are all my copies. And, leave any feedback in the comments section as to whether you liked it or not, whether you'd like to see other books. Thank you very much. This is howtodrama.com. Go there. We have some free articles and books on the best way to get into drama school. I hope you enjoy this. Thank you very much.